What's up guys, Chris Allen with Chris Allen Fitness. So as you see, the title of this video is X-Bar Claims Fact or Fiction. Now if you read Dr. Jaquish's book, Weightlifting is a Waste of Time, or go to his website, there are literally dozens if not hundreds of claims that are made. I'm only going to be addressing 3 of them. Now the first one happens when you go to their website. It's the very first page that you see. From the first page, grow muscle 3 times faster than with weights. And if we scroll down a little bit, we'll get to claim number 2, which is you are 7 times stronger than you think you are. This claim is a bit harder to get to. From their main screen, you go to their help center, and then as you start to scroll down, you go all the way to nutrition. Click on that, and again we scroll down with our lovely purple colored cursor. And here, how many calories does an X3 bar burn? We've never attempted to calculate that, as it's not a very good metric for muscle growth or weight loss. The increase in firing stability when using the X3 upregulates growth hormone, which accelerates fat loss faster than a caloric deficit. In the second chapter of his book, Weightlifting is a Waste of Time, Dr. Jaquish lists probably over a dozen references. So I'm going to be looking at the first 3 papers that he references. So paper number 1, the effects of combining elastic and free weight resistance on strength and power in athletes, by Anderson, Sofferzo, and Sig. Here we see the results. And this study was done using elastic bands added to weights. So half of the people were split up into a group using barbells only, and half added bands equaling 20% of their 1 rep max for the bench press and for the back squat. And for back squat, they averaged a 16.47 kilo increase with bands. Without bands, 6.84 kilos. And for bench press, they averaged a 6.68 kilo increase with bands, and without bands they averaged 3.34 kilogram increase. So they doubled their 1 rep max in the bench press, and on back squat they increased it by like 2.5 times. Now here's their study regarding the lean body mass. Increases in lean body mass are common in well-planned weight training activities. However, in this study there were no differences in lean body mass between the groups before or after the training program. In other words, we have no evidence that muscle mass differences account for the observed performances differences within the groups. Our second study is the effects of a 7-week heavy elastic band and weight chain program on upper body strength and upper body power in a sample of Division I AA football players, by Arel, Nagel, Gross, Robertson, and a couple of other people. Here's what they found. The 1 RM repetition max predicted maximum strength test increased significantly from week 1 to 8 across all groups, with no significant differences between the groups. The weighted chain, elastic band, and control groups significantly increased the predicted 1 repetition max, but there was no difference between people using just barbells plus bands, or barbells plus elastic bands. And in the 5 repetition maximum bench press, no significant differences or between or within group effects was observed from the 5 RM speed bench press test. However, further analysis of these data indicated a trend towards significance in both the weighted chain and elastic band groups when highest recorded power value. So, no significant differences. Study number 3, elastic bands is a component of periodized resistance training, by Joy, Lowry, and others. Here they say significant time effects were observed for all other variables, including squat 1 RM, bench press 1 RM, deadlift 1 RM, clean 3 RM, vertical jump, and lean mass. So in this one, people using the variable resistance did show an increase compared to people not using variable resistance. So when we look at the studies as a whole, the first study showed a strength increase in your 1 rep max in squat and in the bench press, but no increase in lean body mass compared to the control group. The second study, I believe, showed a trend toward an increase, and the third study showed an increase in both strength, power development, and lean body mass. At no time in any of these studies do the authors of them state you will grow muscle 3 times faster using variable resistance training, i.e. bands and or chains, compared to barbell training. In fact, for all these studies, they attached either chains or bands to barbells. So none of these studies use the X3 system at all. So because of that, I rate this claim of gaining muscle 3 times as fast as being fiction. 7 times stronger than you think you are. Just how they phrase this is a bit problematic, because I don't know how strong anyone else thinks they are, and neither does anyone at XBAR know how strong I think I am or anyone else is. Now here you see a video of Hafthor Bjornsson, better known as Mountain from Game of Thrones, deadlifting 1,102 pounds, and you're also going to see a video of Eddie Hall from Great Britain deadlifting 1,100 pounds. I don't think anyone would claim that these men can actually, for some range of motion of the deadlift, lift over 7,000 pounds. So they're really talking about range of motion here, and more specifically your strength curve. They also mention on the website when you're in a weaker range of motion versus a stronger range of motion. So within range of motion, there are basically 3 different strength curves. There is the ascending strength curve, a descending strength curve, and a descending ascending strength curve. This is an example of an ascending strength curve. The resistance feels heavier and is more difficult to move at the bottom, and as you get to the top, it's easier. When you have an activity with an ascending strength curve, basically means you're able to produce more power at the top and the weight feels easier. Examples would be the bench press, squat, and the deadlift. The opposite of an ascending strength curve is a descending strength curve. Examples of descending strength curve are basically most of the pulling movements, like a bent over barbell row. This would be a descending strength curve, meaning I'm stronger at the bottom and I'm much weaker at the top. Your classic barbell curl is a descending ascending strength curve. You start here, it's relatively easy. As you go up higher and you get to here, this is about the most difficult part. You'll notice right here, my forearms are parallel to the floor, and then at the top, the weight comes here, and if I cheated a bit, now there's no resistance. So, descending ascending means it starts out, it gets difficult, and then it gets easier. I should mention, in his book, he cites that gymnasts routinely absorb 10 times their body weight during either dismounts or doing a tumbling run. I found a website where it listed the forces that a gymnast could endure as being momentarily from 8 times their body weight to 17 times their body weight. So if he's speaking strictly about a momentary, meaning less than 1/10 of a second, more likely less than, like a 0.05 of a second. So if what he's speaking of is the force that your body can momentarily endure for 1/10 of a second or less, then yeah, you are 7 times stronger than you probably think you are, because not a lot of people spend much time thinking about how strong they are for less than 1/10 of a second. So claim number 2, I'll actually rate as fact. Okay, the claim about fat loss caused by an upregulation of growth hormone due to the X3. I am able to find studies showing that in obese women who are given injections of growth hormone, that they lose fat and retain muscle more than obese women not given injections of growth hormone. I can find 0 studies of anyone doing the X-bar or any resistance exercise in which fat loss came from that greater than fat loss shown to come from a caloric deficit. Until such time as there's an actual study with the X-bar showing a fat loss increase while in a caloric surplus, this claim is fiction. Bowling for cats. Do it again. Ready, Noners?
He's so cute.
One more time?
Nope.
Nope.